Amplitube 5 has a ton of amps. We established that already. But do you really need them all? And to help us figure that out, I came up with these 3 videos. One for cleans, one for crunch, and one for high gain. Today, my friend, we're ranking the best crunch amplifiers in Amplitube 5. I'm Jorge Lanzas, and now we break it down, baby. Okay, so we established that there's tons and tons of amps. And so the first thing that I did is that I went through the whole crunch collection. Yeah, that one right here on your screen that says crunch. So if it's not in that collection in Amplitube, I didn't do it. Maybe your favorite amp, it's not a crunch. Maybe it's a clean amp.
Or could it be a high gain amp?
I don't know. The point is that I'm using this category. So whatever says crunch in Amplitube, I am using it right here. Which is kind of odd because my favorite amp, I used to think it was a clean, but it turns out it's a crunch. It almost didn't make the cut. And for today's episode, because it's so hard to actually determine what kind of crunch is better than the other, I came up with these 4 criteria to help me do it. Number 1, it's of course
sound.
Because nobody cares about an amp that doesn't sound good, right? Number 2,
breakup.
What do I mean with breakup? Breakup, for this intents and purposes, is gonna be the texture, the tone, the feel, right where the amp starts getting distorted or a little bit dirty. That's what I'm gonna be calling breakup. All right, but let's move on. Number 3, it's gonna be the ability of the amp to actually
take pedals.
To be honest, how much gain it can take. That's pretty much the test that I was doing. How much gain it can take without sounding terrible. And trust me, some of them sounded really good and some of them sounded terrible. So of course I had to put this in. And then my friend, number 4, magic. Because what would music be without magic? And yes, my friend, all these things are arbitrary and subjective because I'm always filtering through my taste and the things that I want and that I like and the things that I want to hear whenever I'm strumming a chord or playing a lick. Whatever it may be, this is my tier list, and of course, it goes to my taste. But I'm always curious to hear what you have to say in the comment section. So without further ado say, let's go to my computer and check it out. Here we go. Amplitube 5 Max, best crunch amps. It's in the game. Hey, you already made that joke a couple times, no more. It's not funny anymore, dude. I guess this guy is right. Anyway, no more jokes like that. Okay, so if we go right here on our left, we're gonna find our 53 basement amp. And let's see where it belongs. A tier. Honestly, this amp took me totally by surprise because I was not expecting it to sound really good. And I ended up discovering that if I put those knobs all the way to the right, like full blast, it sounded so good. Especially on like the magic and like the texture department. And make sure you play with the aging stick, whatever thing that turns it into like a road worn version. It sounds so good. Right here again on our left, we have the 57 Bandmaster. Let's see where it goes. This is a bunch of people's favorite. In my case, it's a B tier. Honestly, I don't know why it's a B tier because it sounds so good. But I want to say that this felt to me more like a clean amp because the way it broke up, it wasn't really that nice. Like it wasn't the highlight of the amp. And it didn't take pedals really well, so that was the reason. But when I say it didn't take pedals really well, take it with like a couple tons of salt because you might like the way it takes it. For me, it was just that it was adding this extra weight that I didn't really want with the pedal. And then when I took the weight off, it took the life away from the amp too. So the solution was worse than the problem itself. So that's what I'm saying, maybe you do like it. In my case, it's perfect. Right here, dead smack in the middle. Then we have right here in this bottom corner, the 57 Deluxe D tier. Honestly, I just left this one in here because when you hear it, it sounds so iconic to be quite fair. Amplitube, actually, these Fenders, they made them sound like Fenders. In my opinion, but let me know what your opinion is in the comment section, my friend. So I felt that D was just perfect for it. Let's go to the next amp. Okay, right here on our left, we have the 57 Custom Champ. Another one knob D tier. Again, this is no discrimination with one knob amps, but they have such a limited utility. And honestly, the breakup in this one wasn't really the best, at least for my taste. But again, it wasn't bad. It might be your favorite. So anyway, this is my opinion. Let me know in the comment section if you think I was unfair with this guy. Alright, let's move on with the next amp. Okay, here we have the 57 Custom Deluxe. This is fighting all the way to
A tier.
This one, again, iconic sound, really nice breakup. But honestly, at that point, I thought, wow, the breakup on this one is really, really, really nice. And I think that it really does deserve to be A tier. And honestly, the sound is pretty versatile because I felt like it had the spank and the sparkle and the weight that you kind of want from a Fender amp. So overall, a great representation of a great amp. Very, very, very usable. Next amp. Okay, the next one right here again. And this yellow tweedish orangey thing, we have the 57 Custom Pro amp, flying its way straight to B tier. This one is just like, honestly, it's really good, but the breakup is a little bit like screechy. And coming from the 57 Custom Deluxe, it's just such an iconic sound, and this one sounded so good, the breakup was so nice, that I was just like, yeah, this is definitely a B tier. Okay, I think this is the last one of the Fender saga, and so here we have the 59 Bassman LTD, or Limited, I guess. And this goes straight to A tier. Again, really, really great amp. Killer tone, nice headroom, great breakup. It took pedals really well, but I'm not gonna lie, my friend. The magic wasn't there. I just wasn't feeling it. It wasn't my thing. But whatever, let's just keep going. Next. Okay, so now we're gonna go with the Orange AD30. B tier. Let me start by saying that this was good for what I thought, because honestly, I didn't used to like Orange very much, but exploring the sound a little bit and just like exploring the gain structure and kind of like what the amp wants from me instead of trying to adjust the amp to what I want. Sort of like backwards, I want to say, but when I get myself time to discover the plugin and stuff like that and remember a little bit of nostalgia I used to have for this one, because it used to be my first clean amp that I used to enjoy in Amplitube. Especially because when you have a very, very low output pickup, this guy really brings it to life. But again, if you don't have a very low output pickup and you have something that has a better top end, for lack of a better word, or let's say a richer top end, when you have much more harmonics in the top end, this amp just turns like very, very strident. And it's like I found myself like playing with the tone knob a lot more than I would if I was not using this amp. But I was really enjoying the sound, and in my opinion, it was feeling very magical. I think it's a very, very good amp and a great representation, I feel, of what Orange can do in that kind of crunch segment of amplification, which I think it was pretty great. Alright, let's do the next amp. Okay, so right here at the bottom, we have this nice blue amp called the British Blues 30T or something like that. Sort of like an AC30, but it has a ton of mojo, lots of magic, and where is it going now? S tier. Give it up for the first S tier amp of the night, everybody. Again, this is totally arbitrary, and the reason why I put in this an S, honestly, I didn't even know that I was gonna put it on S until right now. It's because this amp has the most magic. Like, it's so nice, so full of mojo, thick, juicy, takes pedals really nice, nice breakup, a really, really, really good tone, and for my taste, that kind of personality that this amp brings to the table, definitely instant S tier. It's so buttery. Zero like screechiness, zero strident tones. If you manipulate your guitar and you manipulate your overdrive pedal and stuff like that before it, beautiful. It gives you everything that you need. Let me know in the comment section if you tried that amp before. And while you're there, remember to like, subscribe, and do all those cool little things that we like to do on YouTube. And enjoy this little bossa nova, my friend. I hope your day keeps getting better and better and better. Alright, let's move on. Okay, let's move on with the next amp. And after putting the bar so high with our first S tier of the night, here we got his little twin brother, the British Copper 30T, whatever. It's like an AZ30. And where does it go? S tier as well. You know, it would have been so weird if I don't put this one in S tier too, because they're so similar, yet so different. Like, the mid-range is absolutely different. And in my opinion, both of these amps are sleepers because I've never talked about them. I've never seen anybody else talking about them. And everybody loves an AC30. Although, I was not judging to see how AC30 they sound to me. I was just judging the amount of personality, character, vibe, magic, whatever you want to call it. These two guys have it on spades. Alright. Stop gushing about them. Let's move on with the next amp. Alright, now right here, this beautiful amplifier, the Orange Dual Terror. Great amp. It has two in it, the Fat Channel and the Tiny Terror, and they're both really, really great. This is instantly for me a tier. Again, like I was saying, Orange are very, very sleeper amps. But when you get them in that sweet spot, they sound really, really, really good. But let me make this quick disclaimer right now. By me choosing these amps, I'm not trying to tell you that these orange sound more like orange than other amps or that the Fender sound more Fender than anything else. I'm not saying anything like that. I'm judging oranges and apples and yoo-hoos and croissants and baguettes and Subways and Mickey D's, and I am not paying attention to how faithful the recreation might be or how good the emulation is or the quality of how much hi-fi do I get. No, I'm just judging the amp for what it is and how it sounds and how it fits the criteria that I'm using. Simple as that. And having made that disclaimer, definitely this orange sounds incredible, my friend. So let's keep moving. Next amp. Okay, if you go right here to the very bottom, we have the Mesa Boogie California Tweed, what I counted to be my favorite amp. But did it make it good in the list? Let's figure it out. It landed on the B tier. And I felt like so weird because this is one of my favorite amps. It sounds so good, so clean, and when I was doing the test, I was noticing that overall, even when you really push it, this amp gives me more clarity than the rest. It's like super hi-fi, but still has a lot of character. And that's why I really like it. But honestly, in my head, this is a clean amp. So when I compare it with a bunch of the crunch amps, I feel like it's a little bit lifeless just because the others have so much character. And that sort of gives you an insight of what I'm really valuing in this kind of crunch category. Because again, since crunch is like in that in-between between high gain and like low gain amps, it's like very, very hard to actually think what's better than the other. So that's why I feel that when you add gain to that thing, the character that it adds, it's one of the most important things. Because let's say, what would be the difference between a crunch and a clean amp? That the crunch gives you way more character. Right? Let me know what you value the most in a crunch amp. So that's the reason why my favorite amp stuck on the B tier. But hey, nothing against it. It's because we're judging a fish for its ability to be a chicken or whatever silly thing you can imagine. Let's keep moving. Next amp. All right here rocking this psychedelic color purple, very, very nice, is the custom solid state fuzz amp. Let's find where it belongs. Where it belongs. Solid B tier. This honestly was shortlisted to be just sacked because I had no clue how good it was. But again, the character, it's so good. So it went from almost not even making it to the list to jumping all the way to the B tier. If you haven't tried it, go try it, my friend. It's really nice. The tone is just really, really something else. Make sure you spice it up with your favorite overdrive. Okay, now looking all lonely right here, we got the simple and I think free. Let me know in the comment section if this is free because it might not be, but I think it is. I don't know. The British Lead S100. Let's see where it goes. S tier. Can you imagine? I think this is a free amp and it's an S tier. Again, my friend, sprinkle it with your favorite overdrive, fuzz, decimator, whatever it is that you use to get your crunch and your like vibes. This thing sounds so good. And I think it does benefit so much from having a separate gain and master control. That definitely gives it a nice edge, but the texture is like so buttery. And even though it has a lot of high end, it's not screechy or like bothering. It's just like really, really nice sounding. And I was extremely surprised. I honestly had no expectations listening to it, but wow, I was so surprised, my friend. Go check it out if you haven't. Next amp. Okay, right here at the very bottom, we have the high amp, which is sort of like a version of a high wet. Let's see the tier. I honestly debated taking this guy out of the competition, and I'm sorry because I know that a lot of people use this amp a lot, and I guess it's a very nice sounding amp. But ever since I used the softer version of the high wet, this thing just sucks compared to that. And quite frankly, compared to all these other amps, in my opinion, it doesn't fit my taste at all. So it might be your favorite amp. Next amp. Okay, the next amp on the list, we're gonna be using this orange OR50, and let's see where it goes. C tier. And this is the first amp and maybe the only amp on the C tier. I'm not really sure. I don't even know why it's on the C tier because it sounds really, really nice. But just when I was thinking, wait, that dual terror sounds so much better. And the AD30, I don't know, it has like some sort of magic. Like I said, especially if you're using low output pickups or very dark pickups, that guy will make it just come to life. And the OR50 doesn't really do that for me. So that's why I left it on the C tier. Okay, but let's move on with the next amp and let's keep in the orange feel and the Tiny Terror. Let's see where it goes into A tier. Again, if you haven't tried a Tiny Terror as a crunch amp, not just trying to distort it too much. Wow, my friend. Really, really good. I want to say that this is one of the sleeper amps, and I remember one of my friends had a Tiny Terror and he always made it sound so good, and I could never believe that that little tiny like lunchbox size amp was sounding so amazing. And in Amplitube, it does sound very good too. A lot of character. I think that's the name of the game for me in crunch. Character. If you have that character and that magic and that breakup is nice, you got me. And this Tiny Terror got me. Right, let's move on with the next amp. Let's go to this Fender Supersonic, and a lot of people like this amp. Let's see if I liked it. C tier. Oh, it's pretty nice that it's not leaving that OR just lonely on the C tier. Now he's got company. The Supersonic sounds very good. I feel like this amp has a lot of potential, but for somebody like me, I have to tweak it a little bit too much just to get what I want. But you know, there's a lot of people that play super intricate stuff that maybe this amp and the definition that it provides, it's better for them than it is for me. But let's move on with the next amp. Wow, so many amps mean that we're taking a long time. So thank you for being here, my friend, and let me know in the comment section if you're still here by saying, still here. Then I know that you really care about tone and you really want to know more about Amplitube, just like I do. Alright, let's move on. Now that we're here, let's use this JH100 Gold, which is one of the Jimi Hendrix collection, and let's just see what tier does it belongs. S tier. Alright, did we have enough of the bell or should we still pound it? And this sort of tells me like I sort of like that British sound in the crunch. But whatever, that doesn't really matter. What matters is that the JH100 Gold, is that the name? Let's see. I don't know where I got the 100 from, but whatever, the JH Gold, killer amp. Buttery. Beautiful. Pair it with your favorite overdrive, your favorite distortion, your favorite fuzz, your favorite wah-wah. What a great sounding amp. A little on the dark side, so make sure you know how to manipulate that. And if you don't know how, stay tuned. I'm gonna be making more videos just for you, my friend. Alright, let's move on with the next amp. And let's just go right here. This vintage tube combo. Chef's kiss. Let's see how it did.
A tier.
And I feel a little bit weird putting this guy on the A tier, but honestly, it just sounds so good, my friend. But it doesn't really crunch too much. But as soon as you put an overdrive, it sounds really nice. And it has that vintagey tone, that vintage vibe and flair to it. I had to put it on A. Yeah, this is subjective and this is my show and I wanted it there. So that's why it's there. Now let's do this transatlantic. One of my friends was telling me that they love this amp. So I tried it with my open heart. Let's see how it did. D tier. I'm sorry, friend. It's just that it really didn't vibe with this one. It doesn't have any of the things that I like, and it's weird because I really love Mesa Boogie. Mesa Boogie is one of my favorite brands, and I expect them to absolutely dominate the high gain. Stay tuned for that episode coming soon. But I just cannot gel with the sound that this amp has. Next amp! And then there were two. Let's go to the C-Rec, just because it's fun. D tier. I felt sort of sad because the Mas 18 Junior is such a fantastic amp that I wanted to like this one, and I just didn't. It's so funny when something lets me down because if I have expectations, you could consider that I have like bias, right? But I love it that these kind of things, they just like flip my mind, and I don't care what I thought the day before. If today doesn't sound good to me, comparing it with the things I'm comparing it with, I feel like that's just me being a little bit more objective, and I love it when that happens. I was biased towards this amp, and I didn't like it. So there you go. D tier, bad C-Rec. I just didn't like it as a crunch amp. But now, my friend, the last amp. Go really quick to the comment section and let me know, do you think this one rocks or sucks? But don't cheat. Don't wait until I rate it. Go pause the video and write. And make sure you subscribe if you're not subscribed. Okay, the orange amplification OR120. Where does it go? We're going crazy! We're going crazy for the Orange fans! I cannot believe it! Orange made it to the S tier of my crunch favorite amps in Amplitube 5. That is crazy! Okay, done with the crazy. Let's go back to our calm selves. Like, honestly, I really love this amp. And the first time I tried it when I was doing the test, I was just like, whoa. All of a sudden, something just got way better. And it's just like the tone that this amp has is very special. And something very cool, if you allow me to bring Amplitube up right now really quick to show you, is that the OR120 has this high frequency drive, which in my opinion never really works for me when I'm trying to do like a crunch sound, but I can definitely see it working if you are in high gain mode, because you know Orange does high gain really well, right? But just the gain alone in this amp sounds so good. And when you start playing with this knob, these first 3 settings, 1 to 3, are very usable. And not only they sound great, but they would help you fit this sound on a mix very easily without losing all the character that you have. And in my opinion, this is really good because how much it respects your tone. So is it my favorite? That's debatable, but it definitely made it to the S tier. So there you have it. My ranking and tier list for my favorite crunch amps. And honestly, I was like so surprised, not only to prove myself wrong into like the things that I like, not maybe making the cut, but also the ability of Amplitube to still give me surprises after like so many years of using it and so many videos that have made me like definitely focus on things that I probably would have never focused before. It still surprised me. And it showed me something about myself. It turns out that I like Fender cleans, makes sense, and I like British crunch. Yeah, maybe it's not original, but maybe it's just a testament to the legacy that these wonderful records that we've been hearing our whole life have left in us. Sort of like determining what our tastes are. And I found it so amazing to discover this side of me that when I put myself like certain constraints and limitations and try to decide what's best, what I thought originally that was best wasn't what was best, but what really fits the part. So again, my friend, without further ado, let me know in the comment section which one is your favorite, and if you kind of like agree or not with my tier list, and what would be your favorite crunch amp, or in this case, my favorite 5, which I found it funny. Why 5? I don't know, but there you go. There's 5. And again, my friend, if you have some more time, go watch another video right here. I'll be waiting for you right there. Thank you so much for being here.